Welcome. Sorry for technical difficulties. Sorry for the late starts. My name is Keith Bonham, Education Coordinator, instructor here at the Real School. We've got an exciting presentation from April Blackwell about some mortgage strategies for
Any market.
any market. But first, one thing I would like to speak on politically wise, and I know everybody's tired about the politics and political. This is the one big thing I want to bring up about the election, and these two numbers that are on the board over here. I know you can't see me on Zoom. One of them is 23%, the other is 38%. 23% of first-time home buyers that were polled this year said they were waiting until after the election to buy. That was one poll. Another poll by another institute did all buyers, 38% of all buyers that said they were going to buy a home this year said they were waiting until after the election to buy. There's going to be some real estate agents that have some really, really good Christmases. That's all I want to say about politics and the election is it's time to put the heads down and get back to lead generating, because that's a lot of business that is about to come out of the woodwork and buy a house maybe before the end of the year. So that's all I'm going to say about that. A lot of business to be had out there. Lisa Best from Armadillo Home Warranties here. I'll let you talk.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me today. Real quickly, my name is Lisa Best and my background is real estate. I got my license over 30 years ago here in North Carolina, and I did a lot of years of general brokerage, a lot of years of new construction, did some deep dive housing data in the triangle. And the past 10 years I've done home warranty. The reason I got involved in home warranty in the first place is when I was an agent, it's what I purchased for my buyers. I thought it's a great liability coverage for them, gives them great cost mitigation. It also gives me liability coverage as an agent. So that's how I first got introduced to it and fell in love with it. And now I found a company called Armadillo that allows you to do a lot of different things that traditional home warranty in the past has not been able to do. Armadillo allows you to use your own contractors, which is huge. Allows you to use your own contractors. That is huge. And raise your hand if you agree.
Yeah, totally.
It's a big deal. They also make the whole aspect of home warranty more nimble by reimbursing you by PayPal, Venmo, or check. So that process is more. We give a 10% military discount. We give an 8% discount for your clients. For April Stevens' team, you all get an 8% discount you purchase for your clients, any level of coverage. The other big thing I would say, whenever you're dealing with home warranty, make sure you have someone local in the market. That's one of the joys I have, having been an agent. I understand the multitude of things that you juggle in a day, so I try to make this piece very easy for you. If you have buyers that just want to know more information and you want to send them my way, I'm always glad to talk with them. I'm glad to order it for them, get it to the attorney, and always keep you in the loop. So I think it's super important for a buyer to have this. And I also think it's really important to have someone you can depend on for it. So I'm always here anytime if you want to run anything by me or just have some questions yourself, always here for you. I'm glad to be there. So thank you for having me today.
Absolutely.
And please help yourself to some lunch.
Awesome. No problem. Thank you. All right.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, come on up.
All right, so just
Click
press that door.
Hold on. Let me get you on screen so we're on the right thing there. Maybe. Okay. I don't know why this is not cooperating today. Sign in.
You only. It's fine.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right.
All right, perfect.
Thank you. Oh,
All right.
oh.
Good morning, almost afternoon, everybody. My name is April Black. And compliments to the change in the season. I get to sound like Kermit the Frog today. So please bear with me. I will have some things I'll just ask you to read to minimize your exposure to my voice. All right. So Keith touched on those important statistics, the 23 and the 38%. And I want to kind of use that sort of in the background as we answer these questions. What kind of market, and we're going to handle these one at a time. What kind of market are we in now? And let's just say life as we know it as of yesterday. Okay. How up until yesterday, today, we know that things have changed. How would you describe the market? That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Slow down.
Okay. Would you describe it in terms of a buyer's market or a seller's market?
It's actually kind of healthy a little bit, that way it's beneficial for both the buyers and the sellers, if the sellers are willing to have patience.
Okay.
Right, clean and matched and.
Yeah. So it's probably, and then what are your observations in terms of buyer agents getting paid? Any problems with that?
A little bit. I've had it with new construction,
Okay.
but I haven't had it with any resale
Okay.
yet,
Okay.
but I'm sure they're out there.
Got you. So resales, buyer agents are getting paid, new construction, maybe not, but that's kind of been true for a while, right? Even
Yeah.
without, I've always heard sort of like that struggle with new construction. They've not been super buyer agent friendly, regardless of the NAR comp rules. And then why would you say it's been slow? What are some of the reasons?
Interest rates went back up.
And then
Market uncertainty.
yeah, Keith mentioned a real important reason.
Interest rate.
Well, before that, when you gave these statistics earlier in the board, the 23 and 38, what was the reason why these people were not going to buy a house?
Volatility in the market,
Yeah,
the economy.
yeah. So these were in particular, one of the reasons was the election, right? So based on the particular poll that Keith was talking about, the 23% of first time home buyers, 38% of all buyers were waiting until after the election to get serious, right? So now there are absolutely other reasons. Interest rates went back up. Now I was just relative to where we were last year, they're still better by at least a point. So it's still better than it was last year, but relative to the best we had this year, they went up, and it really took the wind out of a lot of people's sails who were really excited back in September when rates were at their lows for the year. So interest rates are up. The election was holding people back. Affordability being an issue because of home prices in combination with interest rates. Well, one factor has resolved itself, right? That's the election. The election's over. So life is going to go on, right? The people who are holding back, these 23, 38% of people that were holding back, no longer have that as an excuse. They may still have an uphill battle when it comes to interest rates and affordability, but at least, very least, that election is over. Now, let's just think about other things. So, like, are interest rates going to forever be elevated? No. So, like, eventually they'll do what? Back down. And what will happen when they go back down? Things will change.
Yeah.
Things will get better. People who are on the sidelines will come back out. So, the event today was promoted as how to get paid, but that really is not the big problem right now. However, that can become a big problem when things shift back into a more of a seller's market. I wanted to give you robust information so you would have strategies and be fully equipped no matter what the market is. Because some of you may have also experienced, it just depends on the property or the location. Even in an uncertain or volatile market, you might have a property that is still, a seller's market, and you may still have to have a very competitive buyer. So things will change. I mean, one thing is for certain is that we'll always have change. Here's something that you guys can read. This is hot off the press from NAR. Hi, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
tell you, thank you so much for coming. I have to leave for my 12, but if y'all follow April on Facebook, please do. She is my soul sister when it comes to all things like self-improvement, motivation. And I also wanted to give her a shout out. She just donated a substantial amount for us to take with our church to Western North Carolina. So I appreciate
Thank you
it.
so
We
much.
did it in silence, but it still needs to be recognized.
I
So
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
thank you for all that.
You, all that you do. I don't have boots in the ground capacity, but I'm happy to financially support people who do. So, I mean, I was really moved and inspired by, you going to every Walmart on I-4, for, hours and hours
Right,
on
yeah.
end to get stuff. So God bless you and thank you so much to you and your organization and family for doing that.
Awesome. Well, thank you. for
Thank
being
you,
here.
April.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Awesome. So while April and I were chit-chatting, did y'all get a chance to read this full list over here? Okay. Anything surprising? Or like,
Number one surprising to me.
right?
Is that for the year?
Yeah, for 2024.
Yeah.
The fewest first-time home buyers ever recorded, 24%. Typically it's in the 30s, like around 34 to 36%.
Especially since that's such a large segment of the population right now. That would be
Yeah.
home buyers.
Yeah. And then y'all, I did this really quick, so if there's typos, forgive me. I saw this on my Instagram page, like scrolling this morning. And I was like, oh, I gotta hurry and add that to the presentation. I had like 5 minutes. So I already see typos. Y'all just forgive me with that. What else? What else do you see here? I mean, I see a lot of surprising things to me. Anything else that stands out?
Generational, which isn't surprising because obviously that's a new trend.
Yeah, okay. Multi-generational. And first of all, there's a lot of record breaking going on here. I mean, almost like like 8 of these are all-time highs or all-time lows. 2024 has been a record breaking year for just interesting things and dynamics. I was really surprised about the age. 38
Yeah, that's.
years old. The median age of a first-time home buyer is almost 40. That's saying a lot. When I see this, and you're probably also thinking the same thing, is that, well, of course.
It coincides with few.
Of
first time
course.
buyers.
Of course, you have to be older. Of course, you need to put down more money. Of course, you need to make higher incomes. Of course, people are living together multi-generationally. Of course, because why? All the things we just mentioned. Affordability is a problem. Interest rates are high. So this is really interesting. Fewer buyers with children under 18. That was, I guess, that almost that kind of broke my heart, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking like children are 18 need to be under a roof where they feel security,
Yeah.
pride. And also you probably have seen the statistics. Children who grow up in a home in which their parents own do better on test scores. They feel more secure. They just have more advantages and privileges when their parents are homeowners. So for me to see fewer buyers of children under 18, lowest year ever, that particularly really broke my heart. So that's just kind of getting us started. Got a little agenda. We're going to go over some local statistics. That was a big, broad kind of like setting the stage for what we're really dealing with. I'm going to give you mortgage strategies for any market. Because you might need, depending on where you're buying and selling, might need to leverage 1, 2, or all of these at the same time. Who knows? And then I'm gonna always, when I speak, I always like to have an inspirational component to it. So this last bit on peak performance tips is a summary of 6 years of peak performance coaching. So I was a client of my peak performance coach, Jonathan Roach. He has consolidated his practice to exclusively coach professional and college sports players, of which I am neither one of those categories. So we're no longer coaching, but I learned a lot from him, and I really would love to share what I learned with you. All right, I'm going to pass this out right here so that you can see it better, because I realize there's a lot of information on that screen. And it may not be very clear from where you are sitting. In fact, I can't see a dang thing from here. So I'm sure glad this is also part of the reason why it's temper. I had like 10 minutes to go to the office, print these out, and update a couple of those slides. All right, so this is Johnston County. I went to y'all's website and I looked at where the majority of your listings are. And I saw a lot of concentration in and around Johnston County. So is that fair? Did I get that right? Get Johnston County is a good market area for you? So let's look at this. I think there's a lot of great data here. First of all, we've got the median price at 341, 458. That's highlighted at the upper right hand corner here. Historical appreciation per year. The 5-year average is 7.79%. You want to go further back, a 10-year average, 5.78. If you really want to go far back, 63-year average, which is how long they've been tracking appreciation, 3.43. So what this is looking at is the forecasted appreciation gain if somebody were to buy today using the 3.43. So if somebody were to buy 341, 458 today, that very conservative rate of appreciation in 5 years, that property would be worth $400,250. The reason I wanted to point this out to you is that another survey went around. I can't remember exactly who, but one of those big ones, NAR or Zillow or something. And they were asking people, why are you moving? Why are you buying homes in the first place? And the typical reason that mortgage people and real estate people promote is wealth, right? Like we want you to be better off in your future because of wealth. Wealth creation is like not even on the list, to be honest, for why people who are buying today are buying. They stated things like they needed room for pets, they needed more space, like kind of like these more logical things, but not this intangible reason. Give you this information so that you can you can remind people of the opportunity to create wealth through home ownership. I wanted you need information is power. And if you don't know it, you can't share it. And then the other thing I want to point out is the median household income, $87,043. I'm going to refer back to this later on. Let's look at the demographics by age. Remember that 38-year-old median first-time home buyer right there in that middle category of the demographics by age 30. There are 32,800 people who are between the ages of 36 and 44 living in Johnston County. And I want to move over to the right a little bit. I want you to look at this slice of the pie of renters who can afford to purchase. Who can shout that number out to me? How many people are in Johnston County who are not homeowners but could be?
18.9 thousand.
Yeah, 18,900. How many of you are in this room? All right. So if we take 19 divided by 7, what are we going to get? I don't know. It's like about 2,500 potential buyers per each of you. And I have no one could get by ourselves, 2,500, but maybe you got 10% of what? 250 potential home buyers. There is opportunity here in Johnston County to convert these non-homeowners into homeowners. Affordability index 121. We can see that this has gone down, but it's over 100, which is important. You look at the description here. At 100, a household earning the median income, which is 87,043, can afford the median home price with 20% down. So Johnston County is still relatively an affordable area now. Do a lot of people have 20% down? Probably not. But let's just kind of keep these local stats as we continue down here. So I use MBS Highway to get this. I can get this for you for any city, zip, county you want. So if you want this for your particular area or your particular zip code, like Hope Mills or Four Oaks or something like that, you let me know. I'll get this to you so that you can put it in your scene presentation or your home buyers presentation. So what I did was I looked at y'all's listings. I saw Benson, Hope Mills, a teeny bit of Wake County, just figured I'd throw that in there, and lots of Johnston County. And I didn't want to go through and put up 4 of these because it would be just really kind of overwhelming. So what I did was I condensed the information from these for those other market areas, and I just put them in this table for you. So Johnston County 5-year appreciation rate 7.79. As you can see, everything's over 7% for the 5% appreciation rate. Here are your median prices. Your median price 341. Wake County's 531. Hope Mills 254. Median price. That's amazing. Benson 317, 421. These are the median incomes in each of those areas. Hope Mills has a lower median income, but that also makes sense. It's corresponding to a lower median price of the 254. Benson looks like Johnston County income wise, but its median home price is a little bit lower. So affordability in Hope Mills, Benson, and Wake, I'm sorry, not Wake, but Johnston were great. Wake County's affordability is kind of pooey. So what I looked at was we took 33%, which is a typical healthy ratio of income. What does that translate into in terms of the loan amount? Now, I realize this is probably totally not visible by anybody over there, but the loan amounts that this corresponds to, like I take a third of the income, the loan amounts that people are qualifying for are significantly less than the median price, which means like they still have to come up with a significant down payment for it to be affordable, or they need to go up higher as a percentage than a third of their gross monthly income. So my conclusion here is like the median income for the area cannot support the median sales price based on traditional housing ratios or big down payments. But you know, there's still a way. Of course, we'll talk about that. So I'll give you down arrow there. Now this is really interesting. So the income limit for USDA, does anybody know what the income limit is for Johnston County without looking at this? Can anybody see this from where you're sitting? 140,600 is the income limit for Johnston County, Wake County, Benson's parts of Johnston County. Hope Mills is a part of a different MSA. So their metropolitan statistical area, MSA, just in case that went over somebody's head. 112,450 is the maximum income limit for USDA. Now that takes into account household income. Now, USDA is more conservative, so they only like your house can be 29% of your total gross. But if we take it up to a max, then now we're getting into loan amounts that meet or exceed, except for Wake County, that median price, which means like if someone is making over that median income, but under the USDA, they can get no money down, right? Because USDA is 100% financing, and they can afford the properties that are offered in that area. So the good news is for households that make up the USDA, they can afford local prices for the most part, except Wake. All right, and then I want to give you another income limit. 80% of the HUD area median income. So for Johnston, Wake, Benson, it's 97,840. And if you remember on that first side of the NAR stats, the median income for a first-time home buyer today is $97,000.
That's for one single person.
Oh, well, they just say first-time home buyer. I mean, they didn't really break it down if it was a single person or if it was an application. To be honest, I don't really know the answer to that question.
Okay.
But that is kind of like right in line with this 80%. 80% of the HUD area median income, that's important because your typically your specialty programs, down payment assistance, grants, low down payment programs for conventional loans hinge on that person's ability to make under that income limit. So if I use that, then what we have is based on the Fannie Mae HUD median income, the data is mixed. You're kind of in Johnston County close to the median price, still far down for Wake County and Hope Mills, but Benson is okay. Is still pretty good. So I'm gonna try to put all of this together. And then one more thing, there is no income limit for VA. That's if you're a veteran of the United States military, you can buy a home with 0 down, and there's no income limit on that. So I do know some of your listings are also in military base areas, and you guys, I mean, when I took my kids to camp, saw April's big sign for military movers or whatever, like on 95. So I'm like, I know y'all work with some veterans here. So there is no income limit for veterans. So just depending on what their actual income is, there is an affordability solution for them in terms of coming up with that money for down payment. So my conclusions on all this is affordability is a stretch for many people. Solutions that will save money will be attractive and useful. USDA and VA programs are going to be very helpful in your area. They're ideal because they at least solve the problem for that down payment. Let's face it, not everybody has 20% to put down. And my heart goes out to that traditional first-time home buyer who's scraping every penny to put down on a house. So it is good that we still have programs like this. And because the median income in your area is far under that USDA income, you probably have a lot of buyers that can qualify for USDA, and you do not have to be a first-time home buyer to take advantage of USDA. All right, so I wanted to take a look at I was snooping around your website. I looked at 1301 open field Garner to kind of like put this strategy together. So in a buyer market, meaning it's slow, right? The seller's like, come on, bring me a buyer. Your seller's probably willing to do whatever they can. The objective is to make it attractive to the buyer. So this property is listed currently, at least as of Monday, for $389,900. So, and it was only on the market 24 days, so it's probably like not time to payment. Let's say it's 30 days from now, and this property still hasn't sold. There's probably going to be a temptation to drop the price, and I just used 10,000 just as a random number. Okay, so $10,000 seems like people just like want to take at least things off by in tens, right? It's like why bother unless it's at least $10,000 price reduction. So what I looked at was, okay, if the buyer or the seller reduces the price by $10,000, the client then just doesn't they're not gonna ask for anything because they already got that price reduction. Their payment's going to be around, and they're putting down 5%. Think. No, 3%. This is 3% down, I think, for a first-time home buyer. So the interest rate 6.875%. Their payment would be $2,817. They would need $18,000 to close. Now, if the listing agent just didn't knock the price off, but instead they now promote it $10,000 in concessions for borrower closing costs, that client could buy that rate down to 6.5%. Their payment only goes down $27. That's not the big kind of like aha thing, but their cash to close is $6,000 less. So their payment is $27 better, paying $10,000 more, but they're saving $6,000 out of pocket. $6,000 due for a buyer, but it's either yes or no for them. Like either they can or they can't at all. But it's going to be really hard over here if you've already taken the reduction to then also take a reduction and give a concession. So my advice to anybody with a listing, before you concede on price, offer this concession. if you're a buyer that's working, you're a buyer agent working with a buyer about to make an offer on a property like this, instead of going for the juggler and taking 10,000 off the price, suggest that you get the concession from the seller for their closing costs. That makes it more attractive to the buyer. Now, if this is a VA purchase, that 10K gets them in the house for $573. All of their closing costs are paid for, plus they buy the rate down to 5.75, and they're saving $128 a life. If it's USDA, they can get in there for $1,050. And the payment is still $96 better than what it would have been with the $10,000 price reduction. And on FHA, they still got to have 3.5% down. They can get in there for $14,000. It's still less than the original $18,000 we thought we might. So the point is, on this one, concessions go further than price reductions. Okay, so when you're in a buyer's market, the buyer has the leverage. Let's be wise with our structure and our offer and use it to the client's advantage to make it attractive to the buyer. So then I looked at 224 Johnson Ridge Way. I think this looks like a new construction property to me. And I just figured this is like new construction. It's consider it maybe more balanced. You're not going to like try to go for too much from the seller. You want to kind of meet them halfway, but you want it to be a win-win for both sides. So in this situation, I'm going to use programming to leverage the situation. So if somebody's making under 80% of the area median income, and somebody making under 80%, they're going to be looking at something under 350 for sure. Okay. They could put down as little as 1% on that property, get a 2% credit from the lender for their other part of their down payment, and they're only going to have say $8,900 to purchase that property, versus putting down 2% more, another $7,000 on that. And then if it's attractive to the buyer, it's comfortable for them. Maybe you're just going in at the purchase price without any reduction, and you don't really need anything from the seller because your buyer has the cash to do it. Now, or you could do a lender paid buy down. Now, on this strategy, you don't have to be but you do have to make 80% or less of the area median income. You do not have to be a first-time home buyer. You do need to be a first-time home buyer over here. But if this program over here, the lender pays for the 2-1 buy down. So the rate would be 5.125 in year 1, 6.125 in year 2. That saves them $407 a month compared to if they didn't have the lender buying that down for them. Again, I'm emphasizing the lender is paying the 2-1 buy down. I've been here before and I've talked about the seller paying for the 2-1 buy down, and you could still have the seller pay the 2-1 buy down. And that would be a strategy for a buyer where you could use that and put it on this one as well. Just flip it around, but it would cost the seller basically 407 times 12 was 208 times 12. So like, I don't know, 5,000, 3,000, about $8,000 it would cost the seller about $8,000 to subsidize on a seller 2-1 buy down. But instead of the payment being $2,415, it would be $2,000. It's a significant difference in payment. If we're trying to make things more affordable for people, it's good to know what programs are available out there. Now imagine you do got a little more flexibility in there. You're not going to go for 10, but you maybe get 5 out of the seller. Then it's going to bring your cash to close down to $3,400 on one, or $99, or just under $10,000 on the other one. So it's still a dollar for dollar, and seller paid closing costs. So it saves the buyer significant money. And then, of course, you guys have several listings that are perfect for these special programs. I'm going to call these special programs, plus the USDA or VA. All right, now this is why most of you guys are came. This is what was promoted to you, is how to get paid. Now, you have no problem getting paid right now. And assuming that this law doesn't change going forward under the new administration, when things do change, it becomes more of a seller market, then who's paying you becomes more of a strategic decision in making your offer. hey, my buyer's a full price offer, but you don't have to pay me, right? So we'll take a look at that. I just kind of used a $400,000 price. It's higher than the median, but what we do know in the seller market, prices are going to go up. So I used $400,000, 5% down, and of course, these strategies can be used on any type of loan program, okay? We're gonna pull on different levers here. So if you go full price and your buyer say, hey, we'll go full price, my buyer pays my comp, okay? And we're assuming you're getting paid 2.5% or $10,000. This borrower is gonna need, the buyers need $38,000, okay? That's the number. Now, if you go up 10,000 on the price, and get 10,000 as a concession, now they need $28,000. So they're saving 10,000 and their payment is going up about 75. Okay, so payment, hey, that's fine. I would rather pay $75 more than it come out of pocket $10,000 extra. Or you maybe split the difference. You go up $5,000 and get a $5,000 concession. Here, the buyer needs $33,000 versus $38,000, and their payment is about $38 more per month. Again, happy to pay $38 more per month to save $5,000 out of pocket. Now, let's just say the listing agent seller just they just not having. They're like, well, we got everybody over here, and we're not gonna pay you nothing no matter what you do. So you got the full price, and now the buyer has to figure it out. So now there's another lever that we can pull on, and that is interest rates. So if you don't know, when you ask the lender for rates, they're probably like, I don't know, which rate do you want? So you got to list this long. So you could have a rate as low as 5.5% if you've got the money to buy it down, or temporarily at the 5.125, or we could go up the opposite direction. The higher we go, the lower the cost, and then it flips into a lender credit where the lender is giving the buyer the money. So in this case here, 7.5% was giving back just over $5,000. So in this case, their payment would be $122, or actually $131 more per month. And they'd have to come out of pocket $32,800. I'm not saying any one of these are ideal. There are ways to do this. And I think I've got one more. Another way, if they're a first-time home buyer, they can reduce their down payment. So the less they're putting down as a down payment gives them the money they need to pay for you. So we can reduce the down payment. That changes their payment by $128 or something like that more, and they'll need about $30,000 to close. It's still less than the 38 than the original strategy. So we can pull on these are different levers. Okay, we can change sales price so long as it appraises, right? We can change loan amount or down payment. We can change the interest rate, and we can negotiate concessions. These 4 variables produce up to 24 different outcomes. Okay, so I don't want to bother you with 24 different possible combinations. It would be overwhelming. The headline here is there are ways, and this is not up to you to figure this out. This is up to your mortgage professional, right? Your trusted mortgage professional. Like, they need to be explaining these to your client each and every time they're having a conversation with them. Now, if I've got a client and they've got $100,000 sitting in the bank, and this is just like, no big deal. There's not a big deal to all of this. I've got somebody with like $8,000 in the bank, and they're getting a gift from grandma and grandpa and everybody. Then, I've got to be a little bit more creative. So we've got to meet our clients where they are. But the fact of the matter is there are ways to pull on these different factors, 1, 2, all of the above, to make it all work. And remember, seller concessions for your buyer agent comp are not included in the maximum percentage for seller paid closing costs. Does that make sense to everybody? I'll make sure I explain that right. So let's just say on a conventional loan, somebody's putting down less than 5% or less. The rules are you can only contribute a maximum of 3% of the sales price in buyer paid closing costs. Your buyer agent comp is not counted in that 3%. So you can get paid and the seller can still negotiate closing costs for you. All right, there are additional strategies and programs. So earlier in that time, we talked multi-generational as highest at its peak, and Keith has mentioned that has been a trend. Families are buying together. I have a website, smartcobuying.com. That is for family members or non-family members, because I personally believe that homes aren't going to be more affordable overnight no matter what, unless there's like a massive subsidized program that's going to subsidize builders the cost of building. Materials are what they are, the cost of land is what it is. Those things are not going down. So unless there's a massive federal program to subsidize builders, homes are just not gonna suddenly be $200,000 again for a new construction, okay? Unless we're doing tiny house villages or something a little bit, off. So I believe that more first-time home buyers are gonna have to work together, and it's not gonna be typical families or whatever, but like, people who work together, 2 teachers or police officers, accounting clerks, they have something in common. They want to have that, they want to create wealth together, and perhaps they can find a floor plan that works so they can have their personal space. So I think co-buying for family and non-family members is really going to be something as a solution in the future that a lot of buyers are going to figure out, like that's going to be the only way they can buy a house. If they buy it with somebody else, they're going to need additional income. We have a relocation program. If they're relocating from a low to moderate income census tract in one of 21 metro areas, they could be eligible for a $7,500 credit. $75 off of their closing cost means they have more money to pay for a buyer's agent. So this QR code right here takes you to the realtor page on my website. It's blackwellmortgagenc.com. And then under About Us, there's a drop down. The drop down for About Us is for realtors, and it gives you a summary of these special programs and a description of them to remind you of other benefits that we offer agents. Any questions about any of that? Anything interesting or thought-provoking? Good stuff. Oh, all right, awesome. I am one of those words of affirmation people. Like I like the little verbal. Good. Okay, good. I'm feeling good.
As long as, like you said, we don't have to figure it out, I can call
Right.
it.
Exactly. I mean, this is not a course in teaching you how to solve these problems, but it is a workshop to make you aware that solutions are available. And if you're not working with a partner that can whip this stuff up and figure it out, then you need to find a new partner. Right. What is peak performance? I mean, want a new idea. When I say peak performance, what comes to mind?
Just top of the line, firing in all cylinders, the best of the best.
Yeah, all those things. You get stuff done, you're at the top of your game. This is like you're the best version of you, like you feeling your best, doing your best. Just like I don't know, like walking on sunshine, right? Like, but who just wakes up feeling like they don't walk on sunshine? I don't. For me, peak performance is a work. It takes a lot of work to feel your best, to chase down the best version of yourself. So I did ask Google, what is peak performance? So and so I got a nice little explanation. Peak performance can be defined as the ability to perform at an optimal level, both physically and mentally, It can also be seen as a process of living authentically and making the most of your gifts to improve the world. Some characteristics of peak performance include being mindful, flexible, courageous, and ethical. Who could use this in real estate? Is any of this good stuff? Like, right. We want to now, and again, performing at an optimal level, physically and mentally, just doesn't happen to you.
Never has.
You got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the effort to do these things. Because has anybody ever heard the expression like the war is not outside, it's inside? You got to win the battle of your mind, really, to win the battle outside of yourself. And so that is part of that mental peak performance. And I read this book, Art of the Impossible, or The Infinite Game, one of which I think it was Art of the Impossible. Stephen Collar. He talks about like your body, like your physicality and your body has an impact on your brain. Like if you get the body right, you get your mind right. A lot of people focus on getting their mind right, but then they don't take care of their bodies. And then they're not really getting they're not squeezing all the juice out of the grape that way. In order for you to really, really take advantage of the chemical factory that your body has inside of you to produce the endorphins and the dopamine and all that real feel good stuff that just your body can produce it on itself. It requires a level of physical fitness. And I'm not, obviously I'm not like a bodybuilder or anything like that. I don't even run. That's just not my thing. But I make it to the gym, I exercise, and it's an important part of me because who doesn't feel better after they work out, right? Like it's just totally feels better to get out in the sunshine, walk, do your thing. It doesn't matter what it is. 6 years of peak performance coaching. So like I actually wrote down a list of over 50 things. I recorded a video. Unfortunately, the sound was crap on it, but it was an hour-long video that I wanted to produce to honor my coach and all the things that he taught me. And all of those things are here on this slide. I was hoping that this would be a little bit, I can tell from the back, you're not going to be able to read this, but execute the fundamentals of self-care consistently. So like you can't even begin to feel your best unless you're like executing on these fundamentals: proper nutrition, movement, stretching, sleep, hydration, supplementation, consuming positive content. That's the number one. Minimizing exposure to energy vampires and negativity. There's a saying, your energy announces you to the room. Before you even say anything, people know all they need to know about you. Now imagine you're walking in for a listing presentation. What do you want that energy to say? You're meeting a potential buyer for the first time. How do you want to make them feel, right? Like your energy, you've got to get the energy right because you can't fake it till you make it. You've got to be it. The purpose of self-care is to get your energy up to a level 5 out of 5 so you can lend it to others and help them unlock their potential. So self-care isn't just about you feeling good. There's got to be a better purpose, a higher purpose. You got to use it so that you can give permission to others to feel their best and unlock their potential. Consume positive content. This changed my life. My coach gave me a book called 3 Feet from Gold. It was about never giving up. And I had been like in a 10-year dry spell from reading or doing anything. And that book set me on fire. And I cannot put a book down now. I'm like constantly reading 3 or 4 books at a time. I just love consuming positive content. Have y'all ever seen that experiment where you've got a picture of Coca-Cola? It's Coca-Cola is dark. And then someone takes a picture of water, clear water, and they just pour it over that. And they just keep pouring it until all the Coca-Cola spills out and what's left in the pitcher is clear. That's just like the Bible verse, not to be overcome by evil, but be overcome evil with good. So consuming positive content, you've got to really bathe in it because there's lots of negative crap out there. The degree of your success is determined by the degree to which you commit to taking right action on the right things. you have to be fully committed. If you're kind of halfway, you're not going to get full-blown positive results with a half-ass effort. It just doesn't work that way. And this one really changed my life. Like, 6 years of peak performance, I had highs and lows. I had ups and downs. I'm a person, I have good times, I have bad times, and my coach got it all from me. And he was there to remind me. And one day, he basically verbally put his hands on my shoulders and said, don't argue for your limits or your excuses, but argue for your possibilities. I mean, how many times do I can't do this, I can't. This is a problem, that's a problem. No, like, stop arguing for what's not possible. Argue for what is, and control your controllables. You can control your attitude, your voice choice, just choosing that positive voice, executing on the fundamentals, doing what you know needs to be done. Control the controllables, because we cannot control the things that we don't agree with in our lives. And as I just also for the record, when I explain these to you, I have not mastered all of these. I've mastered a couple of them, like consume positive content, I'm on it. Fundamentals of self-care, I'm on it most of the time. This one I'm not, and I want to be. Like, this is like my number one goal in life, is to have one version of you. Have one version of me. Like the person I am with you is the person I am with my children. I'm not always the same person. My kids can drive me a little batty sometimes, but I can lose my cool. I want to be the person that I can be like, like together with them as well as with strangers. So that is what I mean by aiming to have that one version of you. That is my life's pursuit, y'all. Treat others as if they are the person they have the potential to be. See the best in others. The first time I heard it, it about broke my heart, because I'm like, I wasn't doing that. All I could see is the problems, you, right? But that person does this, that person does that. No. I was very highly judgmental. When I flipped it to seeing them for the potential they have to be. And another one is like, understand we're all dealing with something. So if that lady at Starbucks is smiling at you right now, she might just be dealing with something. So be the smile that she needs, right? Encourage her. See the best in others. Make a not to-do list. Know your non-negotiables on what you will do. Like, you're gonna get up and brush your teeth every day, right? Brushing your teeth is a non-negotiable. What business activity do you know you need to be doing should be the same equivalent for you? Calling 5 prospects every day, right? Like, there's got to be a non-negotiable, or going to the gym, like in your spiritual life, in your physical life, in your emotional life, in your business life. You need to have non-negotiables that you're going to execute on time in and time out. And then this is another one of like my coaching moments with my coach when I was complaining about my husband. He's like, don't focus on what others are doing. Focus on getting your energy up. I was complaining like my husband not helping me with the laundry. I'm like cleaning the house all the time. I was like, this is really aggravated. He's like, just stop focusing on what he is not doing. Focus on getting your energy up. Things bother you less when you are in an optimized state of mind. And y'all, this number 13, gratitude is the ultimate mood enhancer and game changer. Be grateful. Be grateful. If you're going through a hard time, something just really stinks. Heaven, got to change gears. And the quickest way to change gears is to desperately figure out what you're thankful for. Even past the family, health, and food in the fridge, shelter, think about like, gosh, like this is an amazing conference room. Like, how grateful am I that I got great lighting and, that this board right here writes so well. And, I've got a refrigerator, it gives me cool water and great friends around me. Like, sometimes you gotta dig a little bit deeper, but really focus on that gratitude. Any of these kind of stand out to you?
I think number 8 to me, the one that you said,
Oh, I'm telling you.
because I feel like that's like all of them combined, Like I feel like you gotta sort of master who you are to be
Yeah.
that one person.
Yeah. I mean, aim to be the optimal aim to be the best version of you, like the one version of you in all situations and circumstances, right? We gotta have a little grace with ourselves because we're not always gonna have good days. But like the way we respond in hard times speaks volumes of our character, right? And I still gotta remind myself when I'm like getting irritated and I respond irritatedly towards my children, I gotta remind myself, like, I'm setting an example right now. That one really speaks to me as well. Thank you for pointing that out. Anything else that kind of stood out to you, or any comments you'd like to share?
Yeah, you got maybe number 3, consume positive content.
Yeah,
Like, no, I wanna delete Twitter again.
yeah, honestly, I'm on the verge of, I mean, the social media thing is,
Sucks.
I hate that I gotta do it. I really do.
It's so hard to make your whole thing good. Like, there's always gonna be some.
Yeah.
There's always, it doesn't matter how good you try to make it, you're gonna do something that someone will find negative. So.
You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a super love-hate relationship with the social media. Anyway, you can contact me, follow me, all the things. I've got a feedback form and some information for you to take with you. I know we're over time and you're probably hungry, waiting to have some lunch. Thank you for those of you who joined us on the Zoom meeting today. Keith, I'm not sure if you want to see if there's any questions online or something.
Yeah.
I can't really see that.
It's okay.
Y'all are a great group today. Thank you so much.
So much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, I'm curious, if you guys want this kind of, this same